Nothing is more attractive than a human being who trusts themselves.
I
Because
agree.
The nervous
Oh my God.
system. If women want to be magnetic and want to attract stuff in their lives, really fall in love with who you are. Success brings out your insecurity. A lot of people think that success heals your insecurity. It amplifies them. People can read how you feel about yourself, and they will mirror back to you how you feel about yourself. If you disrespect yourself, other people will find it really easy to disrespect you. What I've been learning is living from the inside out, really being able to generate your exterior world from the interior.
So
Even
true.
when something bad happens, it's like, that was a lesson for me. It's allowing you to be in control of your life, but it has to come from the inside out. Your external can't impact your internal. You can deal with more. There's nothing life can throw at me that I won't be able to handle. We might not always be able to write our chapters. Can't write the chapter that my dad died, but when it comes to writing the chapter, I make sure that's going to be the best bloody chapter I've ever written.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to WellSome. In our current episode, I have the pleasure to have with me Noona Nafousi. Welcome to WellSome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored to be on today.
Me too. I couldn't wait for this episode. And, I was about to tell our audience who you are, what you're doing, but actually, I want you to introduce yourself.
Sure.
Noona, tell me more about you.
Yeah, so I am the founder of a company called Neonor, and what that means is new light. And I really do believe that the work that I do is putting light into people's souls. I work with people in the corporate world. I love the corporate world, and I just want to bring humanity and light back into it because I think so many people have lost their spark, and hopefully Neonora brings it back.
And you're here for that.
Yes.
I love the purpose and I love the mission behind it.
Thank
Let's
you.
dive deep into it now.
Okay.
So first of all, you're into the world of self-development and leadership.
Yes.
I'm sure you have a story behind it. And I'm
Yes.
sure that people that tap into leadership and self-development, they tap it because maybe something happened in their life or they have a story. And I feel you have a story. So tell me how you got into that.
Yeah, so I have always been into self-development. I lost my dad 18 months ago, and me and him growing up, we used to listen to Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. We used to listen to it in the car, and he would test me.
So nice.
So nice. And my dad, he did economics and philosophy at university. So I remember from such a young age, he would say to me, what's the meaning of life? And he would talk to me about Aristotle. And, so he's always put...
Very deep man.
Very, very deep man, very philosophical. Every conversation you had with him, it was never just a chat. There was a lesson, there was a meaning.
Yeah.
And so when I was 26, I did my NLP Masters. I was married at the time, and I kind of realized that me and my ex-husband weren't, anyway, we got divorced. But as I was going through this course, I was getting stronger and stronger, and I think I could see that it was quite threatening to him. And, excuse me, and I got obsessed. I got absolutely obsessed, and I started in recruitment, and I loved recruitment. I thought everyone was like me, that they could read people and read people's energy, and when someone was telling me something, I could very easily tell if they were lying or telling the truth, and I could tell if they were lying to themselves. And so I would interview people.
That's a talent, by the way.
I think it's when you grow up in, look, I'm Iraqi and I'd never lived in my own country. We moved very early on to Oxford, and then we moved to Saudi, then we moved back to Oxford. And I think when you're an expat and know that you're not growing up in your home country, and when I lived in Saudi, the Gulf War happened, Iraq invaded Kuwait, and you become very aware of your surroundings.
Yeah.
And my grandma was my dad's mum, and his grandma was a fortune teller, and she would go to sleep and she would be able to tell people the future. And so I think we do have this ability,
strong intuition, I would call it.
Yeah, exactly. And so I do have this, like I can walk into a room and I can tell those two have kissed last night. They had an argument. He's just got uncomfortable.
Wow.
And I just thought everyone had it until obviously, I realized that maybe not everyone can pick up on these kind of intricacies. So I was a great interviewer because I'd be very good at saying like, oh, he would fit into that company. And And I started training my candidates because they just didn't seem confident, or they would come across and I'd be like, why does one person who's got a great CV turn up and can't get the job, or I couldn't put them forward, and another person with not a great CV was amazing. So I started really looking into it, and then I got made redundant during COVID. My boss fired me, first demoted me, then fired me, stole money from me. And I went to see a tarot card reader, and they said to me that your next role is going to be changing people's lives. And I thought, oh God, I've always wanted to be, like, I always wanted to be a psychologist when I was younger. And so I healed. I was 40, I think I was 40 when that happened. And I'd had 2 young children. I had my children quite late in life. I'd completely lost my identity, lost my confidence. And I thought, right, I am going to heal myself, and then I'm going to
help people
because I had a really toxic boss. And that's how it started. And that's where Neonora was born.
What a journey. How did you precisely choose leadership, and why so?
I love that question. No one's ever asked me that question before. And honestly, I think everything starts from the top. And having been a recruiter, where I was recruiting CEOs, recruiting, senior executives, it all starts from the top. If you have a boss that is emotionally intelligent, who understands himself, who can deal with his emotions and the emotions of his team, as a headhunter, nobody wanted to leave.
True.
I could offer them 10, 15, 20, 30, 40,000 dirham a month extra, and they wouldn't leave.
Yeah.
And so it really got me thinking that if you can retrain leadership, that's where the change happens.
Yeah.
That's where the impact, and that's where the ripple effect.
Yeah.
And actually that's where people are probably suffering a lot as well, because success brings out your insecurities. A lot of people think that success heals your insecurities. It amplifies them. And so I think people at the top need help because they're lonely. They've got no one to talk to. If you're a CEO, you can't go to the board and say, I'm struggling.
Of course.
You can't go to your peers because everyone wants your job, and you can't tell the people who are reporting into you. So I thought, this is my space.
Wow. I find it super fascinating. And before asking the second question, I want to link to what you said. Do you think that normally, let's say, like when you're at the top, is it a lonely place? Is it true or is it not?
I think it can be a lonely place, yeah. Because think about it. I think most high achievers, they're high achievers. Why? Because they're trying to get the validation somewhere. And that validation is external. So you want, and it all starts when you're at school and you do well, or your parents are very strict and you need to get A's. I mean, in our culture, it is very much like get your education, especially as expats. And I think when you are brought up in an environment where you're looking for that validation and that external validation, you are a great employee. And you will go up and you'll get the salary and you'll get the job title and you'll get more money in the bank until you're at the pinnacle of your career. When you're really senior, you're not going to get that validation.
Yeah.
No one's going to tell you, well done. You have to make some really tough decisions. You have to fire people. You have to cut salaries or cut whatever it is.
True.
Where do you then get your validation? And that's where burnout starts happening. That's where people don't want to delegate. That's where people start controlling things. That's where people's self-doubt comes in. That's where imposter syndrome starts. So I think unless you start training yourself to get your validation internally, your success will become what will really eat you from the inside.
Wow. And when it comes to validation itself, what's the pattern that you see usually in entrepreneurs when it comes to validation, and how do you help them integrate validation in order for them to find, I don't want to say find their peace, because I think when you're like, when you're hungry, that's also your fuel, but how do you help them balance this part?
I think most people, and I was as well, live from the outside in. You tell me I'm good, I'm going to be happy. I earn money, I'm going to be happy. And it's so temporary.
Yeah.
Because if you think I'm good, someone else might not. I might only get 100 likes. Why didn't I get 200 likes? I might lose a deal. So you're constantly giving your power away externally. And it's great when it works. my role, what I do with people and what I've been learning is living from the inside out. And this is something that my mentors really taught me, and it's really being able to generate your exterior world from the interior. So even when something bad happens, it's like, that was a lesson for me. What did I learn from that, as opposed to they hate me? Or it's allowing you to be in control of your life, but it has to come from the inside out. And most people are living from the outside in.
Yeah, I think majority. And I think especially if you're very well exposed and you're exposed to many comments, you might also get affected from, comments, especially if you're maybe influential on social media, or if you're famous, or if you have a very high position and everyone knows it. And what's actually the role of mindset when it comes to success? Because everyone is talking about, conscious and subconscious right now, and mindset play a big role. But I want you to tell me exactly how big of a role, and how does it affect when it comes to success?
Yeah, I think, mindset, I think, is extremely important, but it's not the be all and end all.
Okay.
The mindset is great. And yes, you're right. 85% of how we think is controlled by our subconscious. So we have a motherboard that controls everything. So 15% is controlled consciously. So we have to be very careful of what we put into our conscious mind, because our subconscious will never make a liar of us, ever. So if you tell yourself, no one's going to buy from me, your brain is going to start to look to prove you right. So yes, that is important. But also what is more important is that your subconscious will control your body. And so many people are completely disconnected from their bodies.
Yes.
And that's where our answer lies. That's where your intuition comes from. That's where you trust yourself. That's where you can deal with stress. We know now that stress makes you sick. We know it can cause cancer. We know it can kill you. Your mindset is important, but it's also important because it has a huge impact on your body.
You've been training and you've been seeing a lot of successful people and leaders. Is there actually like a pattern that you recognize in the best leaders when it comes to mindset? Tell me more.
The really great leaders are the ones who can allow their body to feel all the emotions. So if I'm a CEO and I can't deal with disappointment and we have a bad quarter, where am I going to take that disappointment out of? If I can't sit with disappointment in my body, what am I going to do? I'm going to become put more KPIs in, aggressive. I'm going to fire some people. I'm going to blame someone. If you can sit with the uncomfortable emotions in your body, in my eyes, you become the most powerful person in the room.
Wow. I didn't expect you to tell me this, actually. That's very powerful. And do you have any personal experience? Because you're also successful and you're an entrepreneur. So what about your approach to mindset and your approach to success?
Honestly, do you know, when I started, if you look at my Instagram and you scroll back, you won't find a picture of me. I did not post a single photo of me because I had put on weight after I had children. I was so worried what people might say. Like, are they going to say, well, she doesn't look like she did when she was 30, or all of these things. If you look at my Instagram now, you can't get rid of me. I'm everywhere.
You're out there.
I'm everywhere.
And I love that.
I had one reel that went viral. It had 8 million views. And the comments on there were quite a few grown men mocking my lisp, saying, look, here's Tweety Bird, and she can't even pronounce her S's. Why doesn't she go back into a cartoon? All of these things.
Wow.
Do you know what didn't bother me at all? It doesn't matter. I genuinely do not care. Like, I know myself so well. I am a really, really good, kind human being. And if they don't, and my comment back to them was, I love my lisp. Like, it's part of me. It's part of my signature. It's my voice. And I quite like my voice now. If that was me 10 years ago, I would have shut my Instagram down. And so when your external can't impact your internal, you can deal with more. You can carry. My shoulders are so broad now. there's nothing life can throw at me that I won't be able to handle.
You know, Noona, actually, when we first spoke on the phone to get to know each other before the podcast, you said something that I also remind my friend after we spoke.
Oh, really?
And you said something that sticked into my brain. And you said that, like, you actually embrace, when you embrace your own beauty and you embrace who you are as a person, because I asked you, do you remember, you look so young.
Yeah.
What's your secret?
Yeah.
And then you said, actually, I feel like my energy, I feel beautiful inside. And that stick to me so much that I remember that I went out and I was saying, by the way, girls, this is what you have to do.
Forget
That's
the
the
Botox.
secret. That's the secret.
Yeah.
And I love actually how you said that, because you said it to me in such a natural and authentic way that I was just like, wow, it's at the end of the day, it's energy.
It is. It is. And the thing is, everybody can read energy.
Yeah.
We think we can't, but we can. And, you know, and I learned this when I was interviewing people. You can tell when someone walks in the room if they like themselves. People can read how you feel about yourself. They don't know what it is, and they will mirror back to you how you feel about yourself. So if you disrespect yourself, other people will find it really easy to disrespect you.
Yeah.
If you don't love yourself, you will be attracting and showing. And I think, you know, there is no one in my life who appreciates me more than I appreciate myself.
I love that.
Because I'm all I've got.
Exactly.
And I don't mean that in a like depressing, like, oh my God, I'm all I have. I mean it in a like, I'm all I have. So I treat myself with respect. I never put myself down. I'm compassionate with myself. I forgive myself. I can hold myself. If I'm sad, I don't shame myself. I sit with my sadness. I know how to comfort myself. And nothing is more attractive than a human being who trusts themselves.
I agree.
The nervous
my God.
system. I'm not here interviewing now with you. Like, if it is in my mind, I'm like, I really hope Vicky likes me, and I really hope the listeners like me, because then I'm making it about me.
Yeah.
I'm completely present in this conversation.
Yeah.
I'm completely present with you. I'm not even talking.
Overthinking.
No. So, and I think that actually, especially with women, if women want to be magnetic and want to attract stuff in their lives, really fall in love with who you are.
Yeah. Amen. Honestly.
Yeah.
Amen. Connecting this very, very powerful part to high achievers. And maybe we can actually talk a little bit more about women. How important it is for a woman, or from in general, it doesn't matter the gender, to be confident when you're a leader.
Yeah. Very.
And can you lead also without confidence?
Yes. You can lead. You can lead without confidence. And a lot of people do. And that's where the toxic leader comes from. Because what you're doing is you're asking everyone in your team to validate you.
Yeah.
Did I do a good job? Am I okay? Do my numbers work? All of this. And it's a very dangerous way. Look, you can be confident. I think also confidence has layers. Yeah. So you can be confident in the fact that you're very good at sales, but maybe you're not confident that you're good in accounting. Yeah. You can be very confident that you're good at training, but are you good at this? So confidence, I think too many people are concentrating on confidence. And I think that's not really the goal. Yeah. The goal is to be really comfortable with who you are as a human being. Yeah. And what you have to offer. I'm confident in myself in so many things, and there's some things that I don't have confidence in. But when it comes to me and my relationship with myself, no one can touch that. Yeah. No one can change the opinion that I have of myself or how I feel about myself. And that makes me strong. Yeah. And also, you know, this leads back to happiness as well. I think so many people are like, I just want to be happy. And I'm like, that is the worst thing you can want. Because actually what it is, it's really searching for peace. Because I can feel very peaceful and be sad. I can be very peaceful when I'm frustrated. And look, I'm no monk. I'm Iraqi. We have a hot
boiled blood.
Yeah, our blood is very hot. Yeah. But I've really learned to not shame myself through my rage. I do get rageful. I do get angry. but I don't hate myself for it.
Yeah.
And I think
You
when
forgive yourself.
forgive myself, and I think when you learn to really feel inner peace, that is more powerful than confidence. When you can learn to sit with all the emotions, you're untouchable.
And accept them, I would say, also, because sometimes we don't accept our emotions. And I'll bring up one example. Lately, I've been working a lot lately, and sometimes I've been feeling very uncertain of what I'm doing. I think no one knows 100% what they're doing. I think we're trying our best, but I mean, life comes in between. And I remember 2 days ago, I just sit down in my bed. I was breathing. I was just like, it's okay. That's fine. Like, what you're feeling is valid because you're alive, you're human. So why are you blaming yourself? I was trying to cover up. No, I'm well. No, I shouldn't feel like this. No, I shouldn't feel that stress. No, it's not. I was like, no, it is normal. Like, feel it because this is part of your journey.
Well, and essentially what you're doing is gaslighting yourself.
Exactly. I agree.
You know, like I'm feeling this. You're like, no, I don't. And what were you making that mean that you felt like that?
I think in my brain, I thought, why don't I have the capacity? Am I not enough? I think this was the hidden story. Am I not enough? Am I doing enough? And I mean, that's very connected also to imposter syndrome. That is always like, am I enough? Am I doing enough? Is it enough? So I think this is also something that I'm sure you've seen in so many entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And this is redundant.
Yeah.
And how do you actually, address
Yeah,
your
so
clients?
I'll ask you. So like where did you learn that you weren't enough?
That's a good question. I think there was not like a specific traumatic event, but I felt like maybe when I was younger, for sure, because I was the youngest cousin, and I was always trying to prove myself in many different ways. Coming from a successful family, of course, the bar is very high, so you want to, always reach the bar, if not overcome the bar, because of course people have expectations and everything. So I think this is where it's coming from.
Yeah. There you go. And you've got a PhD in that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so, if we were working together, what I would do is get you to unlearn that.
Yeah.
And relearn the stories that you tell yourself, and sitting and teaching your body how to increase your capacity to hold more success.
Yeah. Which we're gonna do. You sold me in. I'm down. So that's very interesting because we can connect this part to the nervous system.
Yeah.
And nervous system regulation, it's something that I'm so happy that now people start to talk about nervous system regulation. And I think everyone is kind of like paying attention to it right now. Do you see actually patterns in the leaders and the people that you're coaching, especially in the business scene, when it comes to nervous system regulation?
100%. And, every single person's nervous system is fried.
Yeah.
We're fried.
Yeah, we're fried.
We're either in
Honestly.
flight. Exactly. We're either in fight or flight, or we're in frozen. And it's about really learning and noticing our nervous system. It's about listening to it. It's about hearing the subtleties, because your body will whisper and then it will scream.
Yeah.
And it's about listening to those whispers.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important to have a really good relationship with your body and hearing the whispers and listening to what it's saying. Because the nervous system doesn't require us to take 3 months off. It doesn't require us until it's screaming. But it's those whispers of, when you're in a shower, even when you're putting cream on your body and you're like doing it really quickly because you just want to come in. It's like, do I really need to do it that quickly?
Yeah.
Can I just take a moment, and just put my cream on? What, it's going to take an extra 30 seconds?
Yeah.
Can I drive in silence? Like, I was driving here and I put a podcast on. And I was like, I'm going to turn that off.
Yeah.
Because I noticed, just a little hum in my body was like,
yeah.
So I turned the podcast off.
Yeah.
And I just, the problem is so many people are so uncomfortable to hear what's inside. Because what if I am sad?
Yeah.
can I handle,
Can I?
can I hold myself when I'm sad? And so we just keep feeding and feeding and feeding and feeding. And actually, it just requires little pockets in the day to just sit, to just slow down. And actually, I mean, it's the old thing of slowing down to speed up.
Yeah.
You know, and there was a time where I was getting really sick about 7 years ago. I'd get really bad sinus infections and
From stress.
from stress. Yeah, and it would always happen when I would get up in the morning and be like, God, what I would do to just spend the day in bed all day.
Yeah.
And then that was my body whispering. And I would push and I would push and I would push. And guess what? I had 3 weeks where I ended up in hospital. I needed, steroids for sinuses or whatever. And now, I mean, touch wood, alhamdulillah, I haven't been sick for a long time because I slow down. Yeah. I take minutes in the day, especially with the work that I'm doing and the clients that I see. And my mentor gave me a beautiful statement. It's called sacred pause.
Tell me more.
Well, these pauses, they're quite sacred. So when my dad died, I was the only one who lived in Dubai. I'm one of 4 siblings. And my mum doesn't even know how to pay a phone bill or...
Are you the eldest?
No, second eldest. Yeah,
okay.
But the only one here. So I had to get his death certificate. I had to go to the police station. He died at home in his sleep, which is the best way to go. He deserved it. And so I had to do everything. I had 6 months I took over his business, everything.
Wow,
and
that's a lot.
It is a lot. And but he passed in October. By February, I was in functional freeze. I was in absolute functional freeze. And so I reached out to my mentor who I'd worked with before, and she said, Noona, your light's gone.
Wow.
There's no light in you anymore. You have to stop. And I said, I can't.
Yeah.
I've got my mum to look after. And she said, if you don't stop, you are going to be very sick for the next 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
So she put me on a very strict protocol. I had to cut all my client calls, which they were really understanding. I wasn't allowed to look at WhatsApp. The only thing I was allowed to do was be a mother. I wasn't allowed to read a book. I wasn't allowed to listen to a podcast for 2 weeks. And I said to her,
noise.
Nothing. I said to her, what do you want me to do? Sit and stare out the window like an old woman? She said, yes. And I thought, okay. So I went to Kite Beach. And in February, it's quite nice, a bit chilly in Dubai. I went to Kite Beach and the only thing I was allowed to do was journal as well. And I just stared into the sky for 5 hours. And funnily enough, I was late. My period wasn't coming. It came that day. Wow. My body just released.
Just released the stress.
It hadn't come for 3 months. Wow. And it just released, and suddenly my body started functioning. Wow. And my light came back. And now I am so strict with my sacred pauses. I do it in the day. When I get up, I just sit, I put my hand on my heart, and I just ask my body, like, what do I need today? Yeah. And now I have a very good relationship with my body. I listen to it. I ask it what it needs, and I honor it.
Yeah,
that's really honor
inspiring.
It. Yeah,
and I feel also we were discussing with the team before that we live in a city that requires us to be always at the top of ourselves, to hustle and to we're very overstimulated, which is amazing from one point of view because we are pushed to be the best version of ourselves, but sometimes there's a price.
Yeah.
So I feel that also we're in a very special environment, and if we don't regulate ourselves, we might lose it.
Yeah. And also, like I said, we don't have to take these grand gestures. We can just go and ground in the morning.
Yeah.
We can just between meetings, just take a couple of moments.
Yeah.
Like just check in with yourself.
Yeah.
And I think it's so easy to say, well, because I live here, I have to be like this.
Yeah.
And
oh my God, it's so true what you said.
And you don't.
You don't.
You can live in the country and still have burnout.
Yeah, true.
You can still, I just refuse to buy into the fact because I live in Dubai, I have to hustle. You can still hustle, by the way. But you can hustle from a regulated nervous system.
Yeah.
And you can hustle, but this pressure we're putting it on ourselves.
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
not, and
no one is going to tell us.
No one. And yeah, that's true. No one's going to tell you to slow down.
Yeah.
And actually nobody knows, this is what I was saying to you before, is that I'm all I've got. Nobody knows how tired I am. No one knows how exhausted I am. Nobody knows how much pain you're going through. You are the only person right now, Vicky, who knows exactly how you feel, how exhausted you are, how much you've been pushing yourself. So you're the only one who can say to yourself, I need to look after myself.
Yeah.
You know, and it's these tiny little moments, but people don't want to do it because they do it. And then it's like, oh my God, I'm feeling this and I don't know how to control myself through this.
Yeah. Also, there is a guilt behind it, I feel.
Oh, guilt is not an emotion that I buy into anymore. Guilt is the most useless, I'm really strict about this, useless emotion in the world.
Yeah.
Useless. Guilt for who?
Yeah.
And for what?
Yeah.
You know, and I think guilt was brought into people, you know, like in, I don't know, the Catholic religion or whatever. I'm not going to get into religion or whatever religion. You have to do this or what? For who?
Yeah.
So guilt
Prove
is
what? Yeah.
Guilt is not an emotion that I buy into.
Yeah.
I will not feel guilty for anything.
Do you see a lot of guilt in your clients when you coach them?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Guilt, and you know, it's like guilt of, but I think what happens is guilt of putting themselves first. And I think the reason why people feel guilty to put themselves first is because they think it's all or nothing. I either have to ignore everyone in my life to put myself forward, but I'm married and I have children. It's like, no, you're thinking about it the wrong way.
Yeah.
Putting yourself first is the kindest thing that you can do to the people in your lives.
Yeah.
Like I have such low expectations, not low expectations, that's not the right word to say. The only expectations I have of anyone in my life is myself.
Yeah.
And everything else is a bonus.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel guilty because when I look after myself, I'm a better mother, I'm a better business owner, I'm a better mentor, a better friend, a better daughter, a better friend, a better sister. I don't feel guilty at all because when I'm full, I require less of you to look after me.
Yeah.
So I'm very strict about that. There is zero guilt.
As you should, actually. It's a very low vibrational emotion, actually.
The worst.
Yeah, yeah. So, Noona, I want to ask you something. There was like a pivotal moment in your life where you actually shifted and everything that you're telling me, it was kind of like a haha moment for you.
Oh God, I've had so many, and each one has brought a new version of me. You know, the first time I got divorced at 28, my ex-husband just got up and walked out the door and never came back. And that was a huge shock for me. I didn't expect that to happen. And I really did start looking into myself. That's when I started my NLP. And then, you know, I was single for quite a while and I really did start working on myself as well. Then I got married, had children, then I got fired in COVID. That was another aha moment. And then my best friend of 33 years stopped talking to me 3 years ago because of the war that happened. Then I lost my dad, and now I'm recently divorced again. So not through my choice, but and I think there's aha moments in so many people's lives. The thing that for me is all of these pains will not be what defines me, but they'll be what made me. And I think I said to you before, we might not always be able to write our chapters. I can't write the chapter that my ex-husband wanted to leave and be single. I can't write the chapter that I didn't choose that he died. But when it comes to writing the chapter, I make sure that it's going to be the best bloody chapter I've ever written.
Yeah. Amen. I love that. And you shared with me before. That's why I asked you this question, because I want you to say this to our audience, because this is so valuable.
Yeah.
Because at the end, you cannot control what other people are doing, but you can control your reaction to it.
And I used to be a huge victim. I was honestly, if you wanted to look up victim in the dictionary, you'd see my face.
Really?
Yeah.
I would have never thought.
Yeah, it would have been like, poor me. I was the new girl at 3 different schools in 1 year. I got bullied. Poor me, my ex-husband walked out on me. I was so good at complaining that if I was to sit here and tell you my story, I'd make you cry.
Wow.
Because the way that I would be like, and I did. I remember once I was telling one of my friends about how things were so bad for me, and he actually started crying.
No way.
And I thought, I just don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
I don't need anyone to feel sorry for me because I don't feel sorry for myself, but I did for a really, really long time.
Yeah.
And I think this goes back to validation. If I have it really bad, you make it easier for me. You make my life better. You see my pain. I don't need anyone to see my pain
Yeah.
because I've got me. I can do it.
Yeah.
And so I think, that for me was a huge, huge change when I realized that, I didn't even realize that I was a victim.
Yeah.
I just thought that I had a really tough life.
Yeah.
And I just don't anymore.
Yeah. I'm very impressed from the massive shift that you've done on yourself. And I want to actually to ask you, do you see a difference when you're coaching women in the business and when you're coaching men in the business, if you're also coaching men?
Yeah, I do. And I coach a lot of men. I'll say this. I'll say men probably change quicker. Because men are like, tell me what to do and I'll do it.
Very practical.
Quite practical. And, for a lot of my clients who are men, they haven't had anyone hold them. And, I have, CEOs in my office really sobbing, crying. And they probably haven't had someone to give them the space to allow them to do that. Women, we have so many more layers, we have, and actually women are probably carry more guilt.
Yeah.
Probably from how we've been brought up, can I make more money? Do I deserve more money? And so I'd say the men probably change quicker.
Yeah.
Not to say that my female clients don't, they absolutely do. But I think when a male client comes to me, it's probably the first time he's ever had someone allow him to tap into his body.
Yeah, I think also men deserves more space to just express themselves. Yeah, definitely. And I love that you actually create this safe space for them to tell you what's really going on.
Just to be heard.
Yeah.
Just to be held. And women as well. I have some women who just come into my office and I just sit down and I don't say a word and they already start crying.
Wow.
Because they know that, like, I'm going to hold you.
Wow.
I'll hold you through this next hour. You don't have to be anything. You don't have to show. You don't have to pretend.
Yeah.
And they're like, their body can just breathe.
Yeah. Yeah. If you have to paint the perfect image of a great successful leader, how would he or she look like?
Great question. I would say it's someone who is really comfortable. Honestly, I think it all comes down to somebody who's comfortable with dealing with their emotions.
Which is something that I think everyone is learning. We are on a journey to learn how to deal with our emotions.
We're not taught it at school.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I teach my kids now. Like my son, he's 9, and he has a tantrum. He'll be like, I hate you, mummy.
Of course.
And he'll come to me and he goes, I'm really sorry I lost my temper. I couldn't control my emotions.
Very nice.
And that is one of the most powerful apologies that you can make as a human being.
Yeah.
To say, that was on me.
Yeah.
I couldn't. And the reason why he said that is because I say that to my kids all the time. I don't want my kids to put me on some pedestal and think I'm perfect. I'm not. I lose my temper. And I will always apologize and say that was wrong. Mummy should have been able to control her emotions. And I teach my kids disappointment. Like, it's okay. It's okay if they're sad. I'm like, it's okay to be sad.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah.
It will pass.
It will pass.
You know, like when we pick a movie night and one child's really sad that they can't pick a movie and they're upset. I'm like, you're disappointed. And that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm not here to make my kids happy all the time.
Of course.
Because I'll be setting them up for the worst.
Yeah.
So I think, when a leader trusts themselves and trusts that they can handle anything that life throws at them, that is a really powerful leader.
Yeah.
That is someone who will make the right decision and not the popular decision.
Yeah.
That would a leader who will give you feedback because they're being kind and not nice. That's a leader who will not blame you because of how they feel. you have someone like that leading you, you are being led by a very, very strong human being.
Yeah. Now that I'm thinking about it, it makes sense, honestly. And I really wish we will have more leaders like this in general. Talking about your, I would say, your, how can I phrase it? I don't want to say your therapy, but your way of working. Why is it different from the other way of working from other people?
I love this question. I think because I bring so much into it. So it's
very holistic.
It's like a full overview. So I don't just do strategy. You know, a lot of corporate coaches or career coaches, they'll be like, do X, Y, and Z. I go in. I really go into the human being. How are you feeling? How are you thinking? I'm a trained hypnotherapist. I'm trauma informed. I'm starting to do training in somatics. And I've done a lot of work myself. So it's not a one size fits all. Everybody is so unique, and they need a unique way of thinking and being. So for me, we will eventually probably do strategy, but until you believe that the strategy that you put in place will work, there's no point doing strategy. There's absolutely no point. We may go and figure out your plan for the next 10 years. Great. But until your body is
you
calm,
embody it.
And regulated, that 10-year plan is just going to be there forever. So I think the difference is, and also I think I can hold people. Like
you give me a lot of you give me mother's energy to me, like very nurture mother energy. This is what I perceive from you.
And I think when I first started 7 years ago, if I had a grown man who's running a multi-million-dollar business crying in front of me, would I have been able to have sat there? Maybe not, but I think now I can, because I can deal with the depths of my own emotions. I can deal, it hasn't particularly been a very easy last 7 years, but I can sit with those really tough. I can deal with it, which means the more that I can sit with my emotions, the more I can sit with someone else's. So they can sit and sob, and I'm not uncomfortable. And you see that sometimes someone start crying and someone will get up and give them a hug. They don't need a hug. They just need to let it out. And I think once you can give someone the space to just breathe and to be, that is honestly one of the biggest gifts you can give a human being.
I agree. Noona, where people can find you if they want to work with you?
Well, I'm very active on LinkedIn. I'm active on Instagram, and I manage my own social media. So if you want to DM me, you can get back to me on my website. I'm very, very easy to find.
Perfect. Noona, thank you so much for being with us. Actually, time is running, but I would have continued to talk to you forever because you're a very inspiring person. Thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you so much for inviting me, and you've really asked some really powerful questions.
I'm happy to hear that. Guys, if you have any question for Noona, please let us know in the comments. Do not forget to subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.